What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Save the World video. It's gonna be Ventures again, um, mainly because I'm not done with it. I'm about halfway, you can say, since it's the 50. Halfway would be 25, but I am close to my second Survivor Supercharger, which is what I'm really after. The weapon Supercharger, not necessarily too much. If we go over to schematics. Um, I have the 144s that I want. I know you've probably seen a different 144 shotgun. Not this one. I had the double boiler just because of its damage, but I scrapped it. Right, because either way, it's doing numbers of damage somewhat similar to the Browbeater anyway, and the Browbeater has a faster fire rate and has a bigger, magazine size. Since for one, it's obviously it's not a double barrel. It has a tube, right? It's got a tube as a pump. Um, One thing there's a lot of things I need to tell people who are new, and it's not always that I can do it necessarily in order. So and I'm pretty sporadic anyway. So what I do want to go over a bit in this video is to make sure you know that there are wargame challenges. There are endurance challenges. Obviously, if you don't have an endurance in these zones, Twine, Canny, Plankerton, then you can wait. It's a daily thing for the challenges. It does give you a bunch of Battle Pass XP. I think the last time I calculated, it was like 40k around that area. I don't remember, but it was around like 40k in Battle Pass XP, and you cap out I think at 60,000 for Save the World. So you can get all that Battle Pass XP, the 60k, the 40k, basically 100k, just from doing your endurance all the way if you can. If you can't, then don't worry about it. You know what I mean? You have to have I think you have to have completed your defenses up to 10 to do the endurance. I'm not sure. But sometimes they're worth it. There's venture challenges. If you don't know, the venture challenges can give you extra superchargers, whether it be hero, weapon. It can give you 2 extra weapon superchargers, I believe, and I think maybe 3 or 4 extra survivor superchargers, another extra 3 or 4 hero superchargers. So those are also things to look out for. If you don't have these heroes, we can go to Blady Acres. You can get both of those heroes. One from Blady Acres and the other one from Wolfie Business. There's also dungeons. If you don't know, the dungeon's down here. And basically, once you've completed the crypts in any level, really you can do it in any level you want to. You unlock the next area, and the next area, I think there's 2 other areas. One other area. The crypts, the inferno, the grotto, and then another one. I haven't done. Sorry, my information is so inaccurate. I haven't done dungeons in a long time. I don't really necessarily have an incentive to do dungeons, other than the gold and the battle pass XP. But I don't necessarily need either at the moment. You can earn some unique sprays. You can earn some unique banners. You can get a hero if you need a hero. Then you can do that and get that hero. You get a ton of candy, and if you can't do the 140s, then you don't got to worry about doing the 140 zone. That's something you'll need a team for. Unless you're like level 140 something, then the enemies don't, the enemies are fine. You can go in with a soldier and do that yourself. I didn't do my twine endurance. I think I Might have said I did on my endurances, but I didn't. uh, I'm working on my builder one. That's the one that's going to be my permanent banner. As soon as I get it, I know there's people who join someone else's lobby. Like you'll join a lobby. Achievement hunters basically will just have you join their lobby, and they will give you a bunch of mats to build and then destroy it after, which is something you could do. You could do that. I'm just trying to go through it the usual route, which is playing missions and building and naturally getting it. Um, Today's gonna be ventures, but there, like I'm trying to explain, is there is a bunch of ways to get heroes, gold, and that sort of thing. Candy, which can get you gold, especially the event. You can get Fortnimers, llamas, which can give you survivors, legendary survivors. It can give you. I know I'm not looking at it right now. It can give you legendary survivors. It can give you gold, and with that you'll be able to get heroes and evolution material from the store, or level up. How do you say perk materials? I guess you could say perk materials in the store. There's also two epics. Like I said, it's part of the progression tree. You can kind of just get, what is that, 400 or 500, and get this, which is not it's not super hard. Just a couple of missions basically. If you're low level, right? If you're higher than if you're higher than Stonewood, then it wouldn't take super long. But as you can see too, if you do dailies and you get up to 1,000, then you can get hero llamas, right? Which will get you heroes, and that's actually really good. Okay, I'm trying to see the options. Oh, that's the only one that's an ore is the. Okay, well, marathon hype isn't necessarily a hero you want. If you can, I would say get. So, it varies, right? If you're lower level, I would say maybe get shock specialist. If you're mid to higher level, I would say get rescue trooper, because when you're low level, you're probably gonna rely more on abilities, unless you're a constructor. And if you're a bit higher level, you're gonna rely more on the weapons you have or can craft. I'm not saying that you won't do that when you're low level, but gathering heroes that can contribute to hero builds is sort of a mid to high end sort of mentality, or at least in my sense. Since I'm always thinking, okay, how can I put these heroes together to make them work the best they can, or give me more damage, like in this case, right? Assault and SMG damage. Um, if you're lower level, and that's why I say if you're lower level, might as well go for Shock Hero instead of Rescue Trooper. And that's because if you're higher level, you're probably gonna have better weapons, and that could be either you craft or you've gotten. I know people trade. That's not something I suggest you do, because the trading community in Save the World is bad. I know there are discords for it. I know there have been a bunch of discords for it, but it only really takes one person to rot the whole tree. You know what I mean? Someone can steal from someone, and then you'll start losing trust in that Discord, or trust in the people around you. Then you're like, okay, I don't know if I should even do this. But my advice is don't trade, and kind of just progress yourself. At least in my opinion, it gives me, a more sense of accomplishment to have earned the weapons or to have got it myself. Because sometimes there's quest weapons, right? I know the bow used to be a quest weapon. Um, what else used to? Some of the heroes are quest heroes, which again, it feels like, wow, I've worked toward this, and wow, I have this. So that's just my opinion on that. But again, back to the hero difference on why. So again, if you're higher level, you're gonna want your good weapons to do more damage. And if you're lower level, you might not have the best weapons, so you would want your abilities to be, really good, right? You want your abilities to do the work. This ability, I slap my controller. I play in controller again, if you don't know. Um, you want this ability. You want this ability since it's not even a very long duration or cooldown. I would say it's not a very long cooldown for it. So it's one of those ones that you can somewhat spam, especially if you have what is it called? I almost said cool customer. If you have happy holidays, there you go. If you have happy holidays and you use it, what'll it be? Maybe like. Actually, I'm not even sure. I haven't had a shock build for a while. Maybe I should put that together real fast. Seeing as I have the characters. Um, I guess real fast before I get rid of this setup, I can go to the end actually. I have 10 now, I forgot. Let's just clear this. I don't think I have the heroes to make a shock tower setup. Pretty sure I got rid of those because it's not something I use very often, and okay. So if you want to make it do more damage and have less of a duration, you want Fragment Fury Jess. I know it doesn't say in her thing, but every time you gain a fragment and have used the fragment, I guess you can say, whether it be with the teddy bear or shock tower, it should have a reduced duration because you used the fragment. A reduced cooldown, rather. So I could have her as a main, or I could have, this guy, Wild Fragment Deadeye, and he does Shock Tower Affliction, 149% damage per second for 3 seconds, so it's Affliction, and it's a heavy Affliction. So you could have this guy main, right? And you could have in your support, let's see, you could have this character as well for, fragment ability damage, which means if you pick up a fragment, those little blue things that beep and give you increased movement speed for a small duration. Those are Outlander fragments. One of them being a llama, the other one being, I guess, a fragment that you can pick up. And it's 39, which is the trade-off. It's a really bad trade-off. I freaking dislike that. Now the shock tower, I'm not even sure if it's considered energy, but I want to add that character anyway just to test it out. Okay, let's see. See, we don't have many. I have 2 corner hammers. No, I don't. Okay. And this is always the difficult part. Let's see if that'll work with it. Under warranty is not a thing for this one. I'll do fragments, and then I'll do. You know what I could do? How much is the damage for this guy? 50 for 3 seconds, 149 for 2 seconds. So I think it's worth having him instead of the girl, and we'll see if the fragments count. As for this character, dang, it's not even. Let's see. I have shields I can't use. Okay. We could do some sub offers and then look for a metal harvest. I usually go with this, and I'll probably just go with this. Just because getting 39 elimination is going to be difficult without it. This is out of the ordinary, but I want to test it. So we're going to go into the highest zone possible. Obviously, I'm using my controller so you can see me kind of go all the way around. If I was using my mouse, I would have been there a lot faster. But yeah, how it is. Am I still on friends only missions? I hope I'm not, actually. I hope I am, actually. What the hell? Off. Don't filter. I gotta turn that off as well. Join ability friends. Oh, I can't change that right now. But it's a friends only mission, so it's fine anyway. Okay, this is turning out to be a different video than I wanted it to be. I wanted to do ventures, but I guess it's gonna be a bit more of a educational learning video. I guess I'll turn it into a turn it into whatever video this is becoming. I guess I'll figure out what to name it when I'm editing it. Or when I'm barely editing it. Actually, these videos don't necessarily take a lot of editing. I'm pretty one take. That's because I just feel like I say what I need to say and send it out. So it's not. That's why I say again, it's not the best of content, but you know, I mean, I hope you guys like it at least. You know, learning a little bit maybe. Okay, so this is a fragment. Charge fragment. There you go. I have one, and I probably won't be able to gather another one. Let's try it on this guy. He's up in the tree. Okay. And even with the bow I have, it's not a crazy. Hey, this guy dropped a Nerf gun. I call these Nerf guns because they suck. Like, they're pretty bad. So they don't hit hard, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. I want all these guys to wake up, so I could hopefully get them all nice together and do that. And obviously, if you're gonna pair this with guns, I died. If you can, so as it stands, it's not very good. They are afflicted still, not anymore. They were for a second. I just need to get them get close to me. But obviously, it's not a build that I should try this in Ventures rather instead of this mode. But I wanted to see how I'm dead. I'm not dead. I'm dead. Okay, let's try Adventures. So, usually, I should have tried Adventures first, but my mind when it comes to weapons and abilities is how well will it perform in the highest level mission possible, right? You want your abilities, you want your weapons to be at that level, basically. You want to perform really well in the highest level possible mission. And that's what I compare all the guns to. How well will they do in the highest level mission? But for Ventures, it's a whole different standard. That's why usually I have to set up different setups. I have to set up different character builds for Ventures. Like the last Ventures, I had an infinite minigun. It's really easy to make. But last Ventures was different because last Ventures had better heroes, I would say. I don't remember what the perk was that added to every mission, but it reduced all the cooldowns and gave us more damage. And this one is different. This one is close quarters, which means you do more damage to enemies closer to you. But that varies, obviously. Xenon bow, I haven't showed you guys yet, but I have a Xenon bow in this game mode now, so basically any mission that's a kill amount or a kill amount. Okay, anything that's a kill amount or like a encampment is just really easy. Now that I have the bow, this better not be purple. Okay. Alright, I don't have a third weapon. I did. I had a shotgun. But I scrapped it. Okay. Now, if you ask why these are lit, there's kind of like game lore is the reason why it's lit. And there's a ghost within game lore that lights up. Actually, we know who the ghost is from previous events. I'm sure you guys have seen previous events. He's not close enough. See, what is that? A 7-second cooldown, maybe? He's running from me. He also has an affliction for 3 seconds. It's a high damage affliction is the difference. But, damn, what's the ghost? I forget her name. She's the character you get during this event. She's a ghost. And she's the one, she kind of messes with you, right? She's a lonely ghost. She kind of wants friends. At first she's being scary, but she ends up opening up. And you become friends with her, and then she lives in home base with you. A friendly ghost, right? But every time you pass anything that could be lit, like a fire, a fireplace, the fire pit, like I just passed, it's always lit. She lights them. Another thing is this. Alright, this is another thing you guys should check out. Always make sure you look around for those ducks, because you always need duct tape. And can you craft duct tape? I don't know. I don't think you. Yeah, you can. I don't think it's worth it. But you can get a good amount of duct tape from ducks. So if you ever see ducks in the water, go ahead and smack them, because they'll give you stuff. So this build isn't necessarily the best. If you were to use Fragment Fury as your main, you probably have a very short duration, maybe a possible infinite, but that's not necessarily what I wanted to test. I kind of just wanted to see proof of concept if it's a viable thing, and it did take out most of the enemies. It genuinely did. It did. With Smashers, it's a whole different story. Smashers can get partially stunned, and I say partially, but I mean like a small, very, very small stun duration. Just like the, just like the other enemy, he got stunned for a very short time. I threw that. Okay. I can throw another one? No, I can't. But you stun for a very short time. It's not crazy. I guess it could help. See? It could help that it stuns him like that, but you never really know. It's supposedly energy damage or shock damage. I don't know if it has a specific damage type yet, or any perks that are or can be applied to it. I know that there's another character that gives it just damage, and then there's also the character I have, which causes it to have affliction damage of a high percent. But I'm not. Oh, if you don't know, I should tell you guys as well. The chests, these are considered chests in this zone. They come in a bunch of colors. I'm pretty sure I've already showed you guys. But just to reiterate, the chests look like this. They also regular chests. But if you have challenges that say loot stuff, if it's for ventures, this counts. If it's not for ventures, like a daily, then it does not count. Right? See? Okay. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. There's two chests in here. I found this out years ago, and it's been the same, so it sucks. I wish they changed it. I wish they would do a lot of things with this game. There's a lot of things to do with this game. I wish they had traps that were element specific. Like, the traps we have are either... I mean damage as well, not just like the tar pits or the floor freeze or the fire pits. You know, those ones are technically what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about traps like ceiling traps or traps like, oh, that's a cool gun, but I don't want it. I'll keep the launcher though. I mean traps like ceiling traps or traps that can do higher damage to different element enemies. Because right now all we have are those traps. We don't have a trap. We do have a trap. I'm trying to say is we don't have enough traps for element specific enemies. Like if we want to do more damage towards nature enemies, we're gonna need fire traps, right? And the only fire trap we have goes on the floor, which makes us very limited in the sense of if we had an objective that was right here, we could put a floor trap here, floor trap here. We cannot put a floor trap here. We can put a floor trap here, but as you see, that's 3 traps, right? And if they're coming from down over there, which if the objective was here, it'd probably be right here. They can come. They can't. They can come from this way, and this way. Oh no, they can't. But usually it's kind of like that. It'll put an objective where they can come from multiple areas. In this case, it would be a lucky spawn if they spawn here because they don't become up, be coming up, up the slope, which means you could trap it. Put traps like here, put a box basically like this, put some traps above, drop traps, ceiling traps, floor traps. But the thing is that even if they're coming from, way over there, right there, that you could still line it up, 1, 2, 3, that would be 4 floor traps, right? And it would be, it would probably be 5 ceiling traps. So if we had enemies like this that were fire and we needed traps that would freeze them, energy damage, you see I'm zapping them, doing energy damage. His chance to zap enemies, that's one of the heroes I have. So that's how I know that at least that perk works. It won't zap any other enemies because there's no other enemies around, but okay. But if we had like, instead of a gas trap, you can change it and it could be a freeze trap, a ceiling freeze trap, or a ceiling fire trap. So instead of spraying gas or spraying ice, it sprays fire now on the enemies. There's a lot more cool things we could do with this game. We could have different varying drop traps, just like reskins. That would be cool. Reskins would be fine. You know what I mean? They're drop traps. They're gonna do one thing only, and they're good at what they do. So there's no use necessarily changing them. But having different aesthetics for the drop traps would be really cool. Like instead of dropping tires, we have a Christmas themed one. It drops toys, or we have a Halloween themed one. It drops pumpkins. You know what I mean? A summer one. It drops beach balls. We have a fall, a different sort of fall one where, who knows? You know what I mean? What other than Halloween is a fall sort of design? Not too sure, but let me see. I'm gonna go back since this is just becoming a rant of me running around adventures, talking about changes that we can make to this game. Like even different, not necessarily skins, because that would be just a crazy profit margin. Like in the shop, it just sells. You buy it with gold. This sort of since gold is its own like in-game currency. Relating to missions. The Husk Grinder. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent about. I was about to go off on Husk Grinder. But if you could buy it with gold, different versions, different variants of traps, trap skins rather. I'm gonna say trap skins because that's basically what I mean. Trap skins. You have a fire pit that's different, right? You have fucking. You have furnaces. You have, you know what I mean. It's a wide variety of things that they could change. The sound wall plays music, right? That'd be pretty cool. The launcher with different designs. A tar pit, but with I would say tar pit, but with ice, but we kind of already have that. Um, it would be cool if the enemies kind of like the tar pit, but instead of slowing them, it makes them slide. So the enemies would get frozen and slide around. That'd be pretty cool, but that'd also be dangerous. That'd also be like quickened, which is really bad. I don't know. There's a lot of cool things that they could add or do to bring more life into this game, other than the same things over and over. I know Ventures is new, but Ventures is Ventures, right? It's not. It's something to grind to get materials like these Survivor Superchargers, weapon Superchargers. But there's a lot more fun, in my opinion, to be had with the game. But um, as far as I know, I think they reduced the dev team for this game. So it's kind of any progress or any ideas they had is kind of on the slow track, which is kind of sad. You know, it's not as popular, which is fine. Um, I mean, if they upsold it, brought more attention to it, and not reworked it, but sort of like overhauled it. You know, better graphics, better movement, bigger maps. I know bigger maps is probably a weird thing for this game since it's like kind of objective based all the time. Um, but bigger maps would be cool. It wouldn't feel as crowded, especially with all the damn animals we have. Not necessarily like super crowded with the animals, but they tend to get annoying, especially when they can spawn around your build and kind of just interfere with all your traps and stuff. Sometimes it's cool because they'll pull away not mythics, they'll pull away, I keep saying mythics when I mean mini bosses. They'll pull away mini bosses, which is kind of cool. That's a cool thing that happens. They pull away mini bosses. Mini boss will get, pulled by a bird, which is funny. But, damn, let's get back on subject. Let's talk about setting up a hero build. So really, you're gonna think about what you want out of a hero build, and there's a lot of heroes to do that with. And there's a lot of descriptions to read. Yay, reading. So, as you can see, there's a ton of heroes that can do a bunch of things. A lot of them kind of go well with each other. A lot of them don't necessarily have to go well with each other. But say like me, I wanted to set up a fragment, not a fragment, but a static cling. Is it the tower? No, it's not. What is it called? Shock tower. There you go. I wanted a shock tower build, and I have a ton of characters for it. I kind of know already what characters I should have. I know I'm missing a character for damage, I think. He's a purple, that's why I didn't get him. He's not in there anyway. That's weird. But it said I owned him, so maybe he's in the collection book. The character you've seen in the shop, Shock Specialist, is one that gives damage. So if I had him, 30% increase in damage. If I had him main, it's 108 in the damage, and then I had the other guy for 50 increase in, what is it, affliction damage, then that would be a pretty higher damage rate, you would say, since hitting them would do essentially 108% more damage, and that 50% affliction damage is based off of the damage you do anyway, so, or it should be, right? As far as I know, it should be. It might be a separate thing, I'm not sure. I haven't looked into any of the math. But I wanted a shock tower build. I looked for any characters that had anything to do with the shock tower or anything somewhat related, like this character, energy, since I thought shock tower probably does energy damage. Happy Holidays because I know it's going to reduce the cooldown. Right? Plasma Arc because if it is energy damage, it's going to do a second shock, or it has a chance to do a second shock or third shock. It's this Plasma Arc not only varies on what target you hit, like you could hit two enemies, and one will hit that 20% chance, meaning it does zap a nearby enemy, and the other one won't. But if you're hitting more than one enemy with the shock tower, then the 20% chance, obviously, one of them may hit, one of them may not, another one may, or another one may not. You know what I mean? It's a chance, a 20% chance per target. And if it hits a target, and if it pops off, right? If it activates, you're hitting 2 for 1, and they're not both getting affliction. Actually, they are both getting affliction, but that's just from them getting hit by the shock tower itself, and then getting hit again potentially with the energy, with the plasma arc, basically, with the zap. But that's if the shock tower did energy damage, which I'm not sure it did. Pressing charges for extra damage when you have a ability fragment generation, so you can get fragments every 39 eliminations. It doesn't have to be it actually can't be with your abilities, but it something to have, right? If you're playing with a if you're playing with a constructor, or you're doing this by yourself and you have traps and you just want to use this, then the traps will count as eliminations for the fragment generation. It means you could have a ton of fragments and just absolutely rail enemies with over and over teddy bears or over shock towers. But you do have to wait until they break. Otherwise, you're just going to be using your shock tower over and over. And that is cool. That is something you could do, right? But putting another one down would just destroy the previous one. So letting it go through its cycle and ending it and then starting it again is probably like better for terms of long use, I guess you could say. Subwoofers, because if you do happen to find a metallic object, I know in the Hexylvania zone it's a little different. It's harder to find metal objects, a little bit harder to find metal objects, but if you do, subwoofers will increase your damage, and I think they increase your ability damage as well if you have totally rocking out. But I'm not sure of that either. So it's just kind of that in hopes that this does this and in hopes that this does that. You know what I mean? And I have 3 characters that I'm not too sure will work with abilities, this ability specifically, but this is kind of the right direction. You want to be able to put something like this together out of thin air, essentially. Even though it's not out of thin air, I kind of knew what characters to put and what characters might do this and might do that to help the ability, since this is ability energy damage, right? But yeah, it's all about the heroes you have. If you don't have a lot of heroes, that's fine. I have a lot of heroes, but that's because I have a lot of uses for them, obviously. People tend to ask me why I have a ton of constructors. I don't necessarily need constructors. But they have their varying uses. Like some of them are, decoy damage. Some of them are decoy duration. Some of them are reflection damage, as you could say. Enemies that melee attack structures affected by base take 15 damage. That's not necessarily super crazy, but if you're low level ventures, then that's probably pretty good. Especially if you have if you go with 2 constructors, you have one run power base, and you have another one run base Kyle. Then you'll have a lot of health, and your buildings will heal. And then you could have this character with structures that make the enemies take damage, right? Then then your enemies will be, yeah, exactly. Your enemies will be trying to beat down your walls, and they won't be getting nowhere. They'll just be, killing themselves basically. Since your walls have a lot of health, your walls can heal themselves, and you could be fine, right? Especially if you have traps like mine. I have traps that, like in this case, see that bottom perk is heals attached, and then I also have another one, this trap down here, which increase building health. So what you could do is you could put wall darts on the inside of the walls, not facing the enemies if you don't want to. Or you could have these on the outside, shooting enemies, and then you could have one of these that give increased health on the inside, not getting hit by any enemies. And you'll have a wall that has increased health and increased kind of healing, I guess you could say, self healing. And that's usually what I go for when I do my builds. Um, a friend of mine asked me about it a long time ago, and I was like, "Yeah, I have my traps have specific perks on them that increase the health or make the things heal." It doesn't really. I don't have it for some of all these traps. Actually, I have it for only two of them, but that is fine. I was thinking about putting heals attached on this one, but I'm not too sure. I'd like the durability to be kind of high. I know I don't have a character that'll show that. Okay, I've been using this just for fun, basically. But you could swap out, Power Mod and Frozen Castle, or you can swap out Lofty for Ice King, Frozen Castle. I call them both. I always keep tough traps. This character, Mechanist Harper, increases trap duration. So that's why when I go to my traps, as you've seen before, it had 64. Now it has 64. Let me check my backpack. I think it should show in my backpack. No, it doesn't. Okay, it's only in game, but it should have. What should it have? I don't know, cause I know with my tar pits, I believe they have 81. So it's like 7. What is that? 7 durability. So this should have what? 7. This should have 71. By that logic, I guess. They should have 41. So 50. They should have 50. So 58. 51. So yeah. But yeah, it's varying on your heroes really. If you want like a basic one, I don't have, do I? I do have it. What you could do is you could just get any character with a duration increase. And I know Happy Holidays you might not be able to get until Christmas. Let me see. He's an event hero. Stop. He's an event hero. Let's see. Spy, Spring, Holiday. Willow is the name of the ghost character I was talking about. Um, Dang, which character do you have to get? Happy Holidays you might get him from Ted, or you might get him from one of those two characters. I think it's Ted. I think you get him from Ted. I'm not too sure. I got it a long time ago. You probably get it from Ted, or you actually you might get it from this guy, from Crackshot. Oh no, Crackshot's something else. Crackshot is. I'm trying to go to here. Crackshot should give you. Would Crackshot give you one? I don't think Crackshot gives you one. I know Blackbeard gives you one. That's the Blackbeard stash. Happy Holidays, I think, is from Ted. I think Ted is from Happy Holidays. or you get happy holidays from Ted. But it is about the heroes you want. If you want a quick one, an easier one, it's either you get this character for a 66 decrease in cooldown, and you get I don't even might not be able to get this character. Oh, so you get this character to have him as your main, and one that, man, it's so weird because um, cool customer. I mean, cool customer is another one that could reduce the cooldowns. Which, if you don't have cool customer, I guess you could have cool customer, but you need Stay Frosty active, and Stay Frosty is 3 eliminations increased ranged weapon damage for 7 seconds. Additional elimination refresh duration, but I think that counts only when you're shooting enemies with that without an ability, right? Not eliminating enemies with an ability, I guess you could say. So, um, it's not necessarily hard. You can kill 3 enemies with a pistol with whatever weapon you have. And then you could pop. Wait, no. Yeah. So you'd kill 3 enemies. You'd use your ability that would reduce all your abilities' cooldowns. And if you already have this character with an increased ability cooldown, then you'll have a even more reduced cooldown, only by 3 seconds, right? But it might make your weapon a 20-second cooldown or a 15-second cooldown. I'm not even sure. It's not something I've tried. Um, but like I said, this is one of the characters to go to first, especially if you're low level. You don't have a lot of characters. Get this character, use him as your main or your commander, and use cool customer if you can, and use it the way I kind of directed it, because that's probably how it's gonna work. Um, if you don't have any other characters, you can throw in random characters. Um, Survivalist is one of the characters you can get pretty easily, since he's somewhat common in the hero area. Not V-Bucks. He's not here now. But sorry, but he's someone you can get, whether through missions or you can save up 100 golden legendary flux and get him, and he'll be set. It's it's difficult to explain how to set up hero loadouts when when I know if I really need to, I could pull up any hero. Um, so looking at it from a lower levels perspective is kind of hard, but I do understand that not everyone has all the heroes. Not everyone can easily obtain the heroes. So it's more of a grind for you guys, which I hope is an incentive rather than a deterrent to play the game more often. To basically just invest in heroes, gold, and build yourself a good setup, especially for ventures. This one's good for ventures low level. It's still pretty good for where I'm at in ventures. It is becoming harder, especially if you don't necessarily know that you could. Once you've activated the perk, you can cancel the use of it by using the same buttons or button that you used to activate it. I know for controller it's like left trigger, right bumper. If you're a different character, it might be right bumper, left trigger, but you can push those again and it'll cancel it. So you can heal yourself, or you can run and build a box yourself up real fast so you can heal. Uh, but yeah, you can cancel it once you've activated it. It's not a huge thing. You do have to wait though through the entire cooldown, especially if you uh, if you have let's just say 12-second cooldown, like you normally would if you have this perk and you don't have If you have this set up, you're probably gonna have a 12-second cooldown. So if you use it and you let go of it at, let's say, as soon as you start it, you cancel it, then you're gonna have to wait that like 45 seconds. So you gotta be cautious of that as well. Try to use it as much as you can to get the cooldown lower, so that when you cancel it, it's not a super terrible thing to wait for if you're relying on it solely. But that's basically it. I'm not really too sure what else to talk about. I've been talking about random shit. Not necessarily random shit, but very unorganized. I was going to talk about the Husk Grinder. It's one of those fun weapons because, as you can see, heavy attack that continuously spins while holding alternate fire, which means heavy attack. I have this weapon because it's fun. I don't think I have it anymore. Do I have it still? No, I don't have it still. The ear splitter is another fun weapon. I have this leveled up because I leveled it up on accident like a long time ago, and I can't bring it down. These weapons I have just to have. I don't really want this one, but I'm trying to have. Oh, they changed the perk on this one. This is weird. Some of these weapons I kind of have just because I like to see a bit is more. Okay, so it turned into one of those weapons. It's kind of sucky. Okay, so with this weapon, you would want this one because it's a fire element weapon, and if you're gonna use it against nature enemies, having that extra damage against nature enemies is gonna be crazy. Attack speed as well, especially because you might actually want double attack speed damage for this one if you ever gonna run the dragon swing. Slow attack speed though. There is a spear build. That's why I have the ear splitter. Because the ear splitter, if you don't know, you could hold heavy attack and it'll slam the spear into the ground and make this bubble around you that'll pulse in damage. So anything that comes near you hits that bubble will take damage. There's a sort of infinite heavy attack you can do with this, which is why the weapon I was talking about earlier is a fun weapon because you can spin around continuously, and if you have a sort of infinite energy setup or like a near infinite energy setup, since they did nerf it, you can spin indefinitely, and it's really cool. They used to have that with the steam thresher, which is a scythe, and you'd basically have a spin scythe build, and you would spin around really fast, and you could just tornado your way through enemies, which is always really cool. But it's not necessarily a thing anymore, which is kind of sucky, right? You can have infinite energy and just spin through enemies all the time. It was really fun. It didn't necessarily do a ton of damage, but you were spinning indefinitely because you were killing all the small enemies and throwing around all the husky husks, and it was really fun, which made the Husk Grinder fun, which made another weapon fun. But that is gonna have to be it for this video, guys. If you liked it, if it helped you, good. Hopefully it helps you. But if you want to see more, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.